So, Mchose decided to enter the keyboard scene recently, and the first keyboard they decided to launch has to be a 75% keyboard, and that is obviously since this is the most demanding layout in the market right now. And this 75% keyboard is the Mchose G75, which we will be having a look today. And spoiler alert, this literally won my heart. So the box this comes in is the generic cardboard box with a minimal branding on the top and the bottom. And opening the box at first, we get a non-braided Type-C to A cable, which is kind of a bummer, but it's decently flexible. Then we get some extra switches, which are Echo Cream Yellow switch, but the non-pro ones, and more on this on the later part of the video. After that, we have the generic keycap and switch puller combo. And lastly, before going to the dust cover, we have our user manual as well as the quick start guide. So that's all to the box contents, and now onto the keyboard. At the top of the keyboard, there comes the dust cover with the Mchose branding, and this has to be one of the better ones I have seen in this budget. And then, getting the keyboard out of the plastic wrap, we finally have a look at the beautiful gradient color based Mchose G75, which I mentioned before is the 75% layout. But the surprising thing about this keyboard is that, unlike the traditional 75% keyboard, Mchose decided not to go for a knob and went with a symmetrical layout, which many of you like. And speaking of symmetry, this keyboard has a very uniform symmetrical ABS plastic housing with also a uniform bezel on all of its sides. And on the left side of the bezel, we see the mode switch conveniently placed, and with this switch turning on the keyboard, we find out that this keyboard is a RGB backlit with shine through keycaps. And going through the sides, we see that the edges are rounded, which feels quite comfortable to hold on, and also this keyboard has slight inclination to it. Also on the top, there's the Type-C port for wired connection and charging, and on the side, there's the weird slot which, when pressed as advised, the cover pops off, and we have our 2.4 GHz dongle which supports up to 1 kHz polling rate. And this cover is made out of aluminium. And going on the back, we see that the keyboard has a pretty clean back with a decently sized Mchose stainless steel bottom weight, which gives the keyboard a tad bit more premiumness. And for this reason, I honestly love this keyboard more than I should have. Then, going for the keycaps, these are double shot PBT keycaps, and they felt pretty premium for the price. And it's unusual to see a set of double shot keycaps this premium, and they measure around 1.5 to 1.6 mm thick, which contributes to the deeper sound of this keyboard, which you will see in the sound test part later. And for the switches, this keyboard comes with two types of switches. Among them, the Echo Cream Yellow switch we have here has been one of my favorite switch when it launched last year, and since then I pretty much fell in love for it. And this cream yellow switch has a pretty distinct deep sound to it. And the other one we have is the matcha latte switch, which we are gonna have a look at our full review, and that switch is more deeper than the cream yellow switch. Then again, for the sockets, these switches sit in are of 5-pin hot swap sockets with south facing LED, and the plate these switches sit on is the PC plate with gasket mounting, and this gives the keyboard pretty decent flex. Overall, I am really happy with this keyboard, and this has to be one of my favorite budget keyboard this year so far. So let's see how this keyboard holds till my full review. Until then, stay safe and thank you for watching.